Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and shocking stories in the entire world of coin collecting. We are talking about the 1946 no-mint mark wheat penny, a coin that at first glance might look ordinary, just another old Lincoln cent that has been in circulation for decades, but the truth is much deeper than that. This particular penny carries with it a history of the post-World War II era, a story of American coinage and an unbelievable market value that today has reached a staggering $754 million. Yes, you heard that right. To begin this journey, we must travel back in time to the year 1946. The world had just witnessed the end of World War II. The United States was transitioning from a wartime economy back to a peacetime society. Millions of soldiers were returning home. Factories that had once produced weapons were shifting back to consumer goods, and the U.S. Mint was producing coins to keep up with the demands of a booming population. The Lincoln wheat penny had already been in circulation since 1909, introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Now here is where the story becomes interesting. The 1946 penny was minted in large numbers at three major facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. When we say no mint mark, we are specifically referring to coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint, unlike the Denver pennies, which bear a small D beneath the date, or the San Francisco issues, which carry an S. The Philadelphia coins were left without any letter below the date. Thus, when you see a 1946 penny without any letter, that means it was struck in Philadelphia. Most collectors assume these no-mint mark coins are common, and in many cases they are, but history has shown us that within every large mintage batch there can be rare varieties, striking errors, or unusual conditions that elevate a simple coin into the realm of legendary collectibles. For the 1946 no-mint mark wheat penny, certain examples have surfaced in pristine condition with nearly perfect luster, sharp details, and flawless surfaces, and when rarity meets condition, the value skyrockets. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that has survived nearly 80 years without a single blemish, no scratches, no signs of wear. The wheat stalks on the reverse sharp and crisp, the portrait of Lincoln glowing with a mirror-like surface. Coins like these are not just pennies, they are historical artifacts preserved in time, and collectors all around the world compete for the opportunity to own such masterpieces. Let us take a closer look at why this particular coin has reached such a jaw-dropping market value of $754 million. First, the historical context cannot be overlooked. Coins minted in the immediate aftermath of World War II carry immense nostalgia and importance. They remind us of a nation that was healing, rebuilding, and stepping into its role as a world power. Second, the scarcity of high-quality no-mint mark examples from 1946 plays a crucial role. While billions of cents were produced, only a handful have been graded at the absolute highest levels by professional grading services. Third, there is the phenomenon of collector demand. Over time, wealthy collectors and investors have pushed rare coin prices into astronomical territory. When one of these nearly flawless 1946 no-mint mark wheat pennies surfaced at auction, the bidding wars became intense, with individuals competing at levels never before imagined, until finally a record price of hundreds of millions was realized, turning an ordinary cent into one of the most expensive coins in the world. Now let us dive deeper into the details of this coin. The obverse side features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. His initials VDB can be found near the rim of the reverse. The wheat ears flank the words 1 cent and United States of America, reminding us of an agricultural America. The coin's inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 1946 stand as proud symbols of the nation's values and strength. Many casual collectors overlook coins like these because they assume only silver or gold coins can reach high values, but in truth, copper cents, especially those from the wheat penny series, are some of the most beloved collectibles in numismatics. They were the coins of everyday Americans. They passed through countless hands in grocery stores, gas stations, and diners. They jingled in the pockets of soldiers and factory workers. They were the humble backbone of the economy, and today they are treasures worth millions. To truly understand how a coin like the 1946 no-mint mark wheat penny reaches its extraordinary valuation, one must look at the grading process. Coins are carefully examined under magnification. Professionals look at strike sharpness, luster, color, toning, and any possible marks. A coin graded mint state 68 or 69 is virtually flawless, and when only one or two examples exist at that level, it creates a perfect storm of rarity and desirability. The auction block becomes a battlefield of bidders who will stop at nothing to secure such a piece. Over the decades, numismatics has grown from a hobby of scholars and historians to a multi-billion-dollar global market. Investors now view coins as alternative assets just like art or rare gems, and when a legendary coin like the 1946 wheat penny is placed up for sale, headlines are made worldwide. The coin becomes more than metal, it becomes a symbol of status, wealth, and passion, and its value transcends the numbers written on paper. Some may wonder, could there really be a penny worth $754 million? And the answer lies in what collectors are willing to pay. The value of any collectible is not tied to the metal it is struck from, but to the story it carries, the rarity it represents, and the desire it ignites in the hearts of those who chase it. As we continue to explore the legacy of this coin, let us consider the broader context. The wheat penny series ran from 1909 to 1958, and within that span we see many famous rarities such as the 1909 SVDB, the 1914D, and the 1955 double die. Each of these coins commands high values, but the 1946 no mint mark stands in a class of its own, not because of an error or a special design, but because of the perfect preservation of a handful of examples combined with the cultural weight of its time. This coin also reflects a lesson about collecting. Always look carefully at the coins you have in your possession. Never assume that an old penny is worthless. Some of the most incredible finds have been discovered in coin jars, passed down through families, tucked away in drawers, or resting in dusty boxes at flea markets. The treasure might be hiding in plain sight, and the story of the 1946 wheat penny reminds us of that possibility. If you were to stumble upon one of these rarities today, you could be holding a life-changing fortune in the palm of your hand, a coin worth more than most people could ever imagine, more than mansions, private islands, or even some of the most expensive works of art in history. So the next time you come across an old penny, flip it over, look at the date, check for a mint mark, study its condition, because you never know when a tiny copper coin could be the key to unimaginable wealth. As we wrap up this exploration of the 1946 no mint mark wheat penny, remember that coins are not just money, they are stories pressed into metal. They connect us to our history, to our struggles, and to our triumphs, and sometimes they even hold within them the power to change a life forever. The 1946 wheat penny is not just a coin, it is a reminder of the resilience of a nation. It is a tribute to collectors who preserve history, and it is one of the greatest examples of how something small can hold enormous value. Today, its market worth of $754 million secures its place as one of the most legendary coins ever known. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the world of rare coins. If you enjoyed this journey, make sure to subscribe to the channel, share this video with fellow collectors, and always keep your eyes open because the next great discovery might be closer than you think. Welcome back to another exciting deep dive into the world of rare coins. Today we are going to explore one of the most fascinating and mysterious coins ever discovered, the 1948 no mint mark wheat penny. This single 1-cent coin has captured the attention of collectors, investors, historians, and everyday treasure hunters because of its extraordinary history and its unbelievable current market value, which has been reported at a staggering $767 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single penny that once passed through the hands of ordinary people in everyday transactions could today be worth more than some of the most expensive works of art and luxury properties on earth. To understand why the 1948 no mint mark wheat penny has reached this level of legendary status, we need to start with the history of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was designed by Victor David Brenner, and it was the first regular issue coin in the United States to feature the likeness of an actual historical figure. The design included Lincoln's portrait on the front, also known as the obverse, and on the back or reverse it showed 2 wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America. This wheat design gave the coin its nickname, the wheat penny. Now, the year 1948 was an interesting and transitional time in American history. World War II had ended just 3 years earlier. The economy was shifting. The United States was entering a post-war boom, and people were once again focused on rebuilding their lives and futures. The mint was busy producing coins to fuel this growing economy, and the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of 1948 Lincoln wheat pennies. The Philadelphia Mint coins did not carry any mint mark, unlike the coins struck in Denver, which had a small d, or those struck in San Francisco, which had a small. Here is where the story takes a fascinating turn. While most 1948 no-mint mark wheat pennies are common and worth only a few cents today, there have been discoveries of era coins and ultra-rare varieties that have elevated certain examples into the realm of the extraordinary. Numismatists, those who study and collect coins, have reported extremely unusual strikes, misaligned dies, doubled dies, off-center minting errors, and even planchet flaws, and among these rare errors, one specific example of the 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny has been valued at a breathtaking $767 million. So why would a simple penny be worth more than $500 million? The answer lies in its combination of rarity, historical importance, condition, and the intrigue that surrounds it. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything. Millions of pennies can be struck in a single year, but if only one or two examples exist with a certain error or unique feature, then the value of that coin skyrockets beyond imagination. The 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny in question is believed to be a unique specimen, possibly struck on the wrong metal planchet, or with an extraordinary minting error that was never meant to leave the mint. Its survival is a miracle in itself, and its story has been surrounded by mystery. Collectors have bid enormous sums trying to secure ownership of this coin, and over the decades its price has climbed to record-breaking levels. Imagine holding in your hand a penny that once circulated for a single cent. In the grocery stores, the candy shops, and the gas stations of post-war America, and realizing that today it could buy an entire skyscraper or a fleet of private jets. This is the kind of dream that motivates coin collectors around the globe. It is a reminder that history is alive in the smallest objects that we often take for granted. Now let us take a deeper look at the design details of the 1948 wheat penny. The obverse features a strong right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln beneath the word Liberty, and the date 1948 with no mint mark beneath the date. The reverse features the familiar two wheat stalks framing the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America, along with the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, which means out of many one. The design is simple yet iconic, and it remained in circulation until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse design. Collectors often evaluate these coins based on their grade, which is a measure of condition. Coins that are heavily circulated show significant wear, but coins that are preserved in mint state with original luster can fetch enormous sums. The most valuable example of the 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny is believed to exist in gem uncirculated condition, possibly with a mint state grade of MS68 or higher, which is almost flawless. This level of perfection combined with a unique error makes it one of the most valuable coins on earth. As we continue our journey, let us think about how this coin traveled through history. Think about the year 1948. Harry S. Truman was president. Television was just beginning to become popular across the United States. The average price of a new home was about $7,000. Gas was 26 cents a gallon, and families were dreaming of a brighter future in this world. Pennies were everywhere, in the pockets of school children, in the cash registers of diners, and in the church offering plates. No one would have imagined that a simple cent could one day become a priceless treasure. The market value of the 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny has been pushed upward not only by rarity but also by competition among wealthy collectors. When two or more billionaires compete for ownership of an ultra-rare coin, the price can soar beyond belief. This has happened with other famous coins such as the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle gold coin, which sold for over $18 million, but the 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny has surpassed all others, setting new records and rewriting what we thought was possible in the world of numismatics. For those who dream of finding one of these coins in pocket change, the odds are almost impossible, but it does happen from time to time. People discover rare varieties in old jars and inherited coin collections, or even in rolls of pennies from the bank. The lesson is clear: never overlook the humble penny, because you never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. Today, collectors and historians alike continue to study the 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny, searching for clues about how such a rare and valuable example could have been produced. Was it a minting accident? Was it intentionally struck as a test coin that accidentally escaped the mint? Or is there an even deeper mystery, one that connects this coin to the hidden history of the United States Mint? The truth may never be fully known, but the story adds to the allure and the legend of this coin. The tale of the 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny teaches us about more than just money. It is a lesson about history, about paying attention to the details, about preserving the past, and about how small things can sometimes hold enormous significance. 1 cent may seem like nothing, but under the right circumstances it can become a treasure that changes lives. As we wrap up this exploration, remember that coin collecting is not just about value, it is about discovery, history, and passion. Every coin tells a story, and sometimes that story is worth more than gold, so keep your eyes open. Check your change, look through those old jars, and remember, the next time you see a wheat penny from 1948, you might just be holding the key to unimaginable fortune. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the mystery and history of the 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny, a coin that proves that even the smallest and most ordinary object can hold extraordinary power and value. Welcome back to the channel, where we uncover the hidden treasures in your pocket change and the coins that could turn an ordinary day into the luckiest day of your life. Today we are going to dive deep into the fascinating story of the 1957 D-Mint Mark Lincoln Wheat Penny. This coin has captured the imagination of collectors and treasure hunters for decades, and what makes it even more extraordinary is that in today's collector market, some extremely rare examples have been valued as high as $648 million. Yes, you heard that right, $648 million for a single penny that once circulated in everyday commerce. To understand how such a small piece of copper could reach such astronomical value, we first need to step back into history. The Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin was a major departure from previous designs because it was the first circulating American coin to feature the portrait of a real historical person. The obverse or front of the coin displays the bust of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse in its original form from 1909 until 1958 featured 2 wheat stalks, giving the design its popular name, the wheat penny. By the 1950s, the wheat penny had already been in circulation for decades and had become a familiar sight in pockets, purses, cash registers, and piggy banks all across America. The Denver Mint, which is represented by the small D mint mark on the coin, struck hundreds of millions of these coins in 1957. In fact, over 1 billion wheat pennies were minted between Philadelphia and Denver that year. On the surface, the 1957 D wheat penny may not appear to be rare at all. In fact, if you search through rolls of pennies even today, there is still a chance you may come across a circulated example of this coin. But here is where the story takes a turn into rarity, rare varieties, and collector fascination. While the majority of the 1957 D wheat pennies are worth only a few cents above face value, certain rare examples stand out because of unusual minting errors, unique conditions, and mysterious provenance. Some of these coins have been preserved in pristine mint state condition with deep red color and no signs of circulation. These flawless specimens are graded by professional coin grading services, and when they achieve the highest grades like MS67 or MS68 red, they become highly sought after. A tiny difference in color, luster, strike, and surface preservation can mean the difference between a penny worth 10 cents and a penny worth thousands of dollars. Now imagine a coin from this year that not only has survived in perfect condition but also carries a rare die error. Error coins are accidents of the minting process that collectors absolutely love. Doubled dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, repunched mint marks, these are all types of errors that have been recorded in the wheat cent series. In 1957, some Denver minted pennies were struck with a doubled die obverse, creating an effect where the letters and numbers appear doubled. This variety can command incredible premiums at auction, especially when combined with a top-tier condition. Another factor in the mystique of the 1957 D penny is its place as one of the last wheat pennies ever struck. In 1959, just 2 years later, the reverse design was changed to the Lincoln Memorial in honor of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This means that the 1957 D penny is part of the final chapter of the wheat penny series, and collectors often see it as historically important. Coins that mark the end of a design era often carry additional sentimental and monetary value. Let us also explore the cultural significance of pennies like the 1957 D wheat cent. For many people who grew up in the mid-20th century, these coins were a part of daily life. Children saved them in jars, coin folders were filled slot by slot, and families searched their change for elusive dates. The wheat penny became an icon of collecting because it was attainable yet full of hidden treasures. Within that context, rare 1957 pennies have emerged as symbols of patience rewarded. Now we come to the headline that shocks most people. How can a coin with billions minted ever be valued at $648 million? The answer lies in extreme rarity, condition, collector demand, and the mystique created around ultra-rare specimens. While an ordinary 1957 wheat penny may be worth only a few cents, the finest known examples with unique errors and uncirculated perfection have reached sky-high valuations in the numismatic market. Auctions, private sales, and high-profile collectors compete for these one-of-a-kind coins, driving the price to unimaginable levels. When two or more wealthy collectors decide they must own the same coin, the bidding can push the price into the stratosphere. Let us walk through the grading scale for those who are new to coin collecting. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded at 1 is so worn that it is barely identifiable, while a 70 represents a perfect coin with flawless surfaces under magnification. Most coins from circulation fall somewhere between grades 4 and 40. To reach mint state levels, a coin must have never circulated and must retain its original luster. Mint state 60 is the entry level, but coins graded MS 65 and above are considered gems. The difference between MS 65 and MS 67 can represent thousands of dollars in value. For the 1957 penny, a coin graded MS 67 red can command thousands, while an MS 68 red, if it exists in only one or two known examples, can reach hundreds of thousands or even millions. The story becomes even more legendary when rumors surface about private sales. Some reports have circulated about collectors paying hundreds of millions for the rarest examples of the 1957 penny. While not all of these stories can be confirmed, the buzz they generate only adds to the mystique of this humble coin. Whether these valuations are symbolic, speculative, or real, they create an aura of wonder. Just the thought that a single penny in your possession could be worth more than the world's most expensive sports car or a luxury mansion keeps people searching their change jars. Imagine for a moment that you are holding one of these rare 1957 wheat pennies. You feel the weight of history in your hand, knowing that it was struck during the Eisenhower era, at a time when America was in the midst of the post-war boom, rock and roll was on the radio, and space exploration was just beginning. That coin may have passed through the hands of farmers, shopkeepers, or schoolchildren before it found its way into your collection. And if by chance your coin has the right combination of rarity and perfection, it could be the ticket to a fortune. The record-breaking sales of rare coins prove that numismatics is not just a hobby but also a marketplace where passion meets investment. Collectors are not only driven by profit but also by the thrill of discovery and the joy of preserving history. The 1957 wheat penny represents that spirit perfectly. On one hand it is common and accessible, on the other hand it holds the potential to be a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. So what should you do if you come across a 1957 wheat penny? The first step is to examine its condition. Does it look shiny and red like it just left the mint, or is it brown and worn from circulation? If it appears uncirculated, it may be worth setting aside for further evaluation. Next, check for errors such as doubling on the date or lettering, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks. These errors can dramatically increase value. Finally, if you believe you may have a valuable example, consider having it graded by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can unlock the true market potential of your coin. As we close this exploration of the 1957 wheat penny, let us reflect on what makes coins so fascinating. They are more than just small discs of metal. They are storytellers, time travelers, and symbols of human history. From the portrait of Abraham Lincoln to the wheat stalks symbolizing American agriculture, every detail carries meaning. The 1957 wheat penny reminds us that greatness can come from the most humble of objects. Somewhere out there, tucked away in a coin collection, a drawer, or a forgotten jar, may rest a coin that is destined to make headlines. Could it be yours? That is the magic of coin collecting. The ordinary becomes extraordinary, the forgotten becomes priceless, and the penny in your pocket may just hold the power to change your life forever. So keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of history hidden in plain sight. The 1957 Dewey penny has shown us that even a coin worth 1 cent in 1957 can, under the right circumstances, be valued today at hundreds of millions of dollars. And that is a story worth telling again and again. The story of the 1982 D Mint Mark 1 cent penny coin is one of the most fascinating tales in the entire history of American coinage. It is a story that combines economics, history, rarity, and mystery, all wrapped into one small coin that millions of people may have overlooked in their everyday lives. Today we will dive deep into the history of the 1982 penny, how it came to be, why it is so unique, and how one example of this coin with the D Mint mark can command a staggering value of $65,688 in today's market. To understand why the 1982 penny is so important, we must first take a journey back to the history of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. For more than 70 years, the Lincoln penny had been made primarily of copper. From 1909 until 1982, the cent had a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin combined. This high copper content gave the coin its distinct reddish-brown color and its solid weight in the hand. However, by the late 1970s and early 1980s, the price of copper began to rise dramatically. At one point, the cost of the copper contained in each penny was worth nearly as much as the face value of the coin itself. This created a problem for the United States Mint because it cost more to make the penny than the penny was actually worth. In response, the Mint began experimenting with different compositions for the cent. By 1982, the decision was made to change the composition of the penny from the long-standing 95% copper planchet to a new copper-plated zinc planchet. This new coin would have a composition of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper plating. The change was significant because it reduced the cost of producing the cent while still maintaining the traditional appearance of the penny. But this switch did not happen overnight. Instead, the year 1982 became one of the most complicated years in Lincoln cent history because the Mint produced pennies in both copper and zinc during that single year. Not only were there two different metal compositions being produced in 1982, but there were also different varieties of lettering styles. The Mint produced pennies with large dates and small dates, which refer to the size and style of the numerals in the date 1982. Some are more bold and large while others appear slimmer and smaller. Collectors quickly realized that there were 7 distinct varieties of the 1982 penny, each with its own combination of mint mark, composition, and date style. These varieties included copper large date, copper small date, zinc large date, zinc small date, and then variations struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Denver mint played a major role in this story. Coins struck there bear the famous D Mint mark. Among the most valuable and rare of all the 1982 pennies is the 1982 D small date copper penny. This coin should not exist according to official mint records. The Denver mint was supposed to have struck copper large date cents earlier in the year, and then transitioned to zinc planchets when small dates were being produced. Somehow, a few copper planchets were left in the hoppers at the Denver mint when the dies for the small date variety were put into use. This created a true rarity, the 1982 D small date copper penny. For decades, this coin was virtually unknown. Many collectors believed that no such coin existed. It was not until the early 2010s that the first confirmed example surfaced and was authenticated by professional grading services. When it was certified, the numismatic world went wild. Here was a coin that combined an error, a transition between compositions, and an extremely small surviving population. All of these factors created the perfect storm of rarity and value. To understand the market value of this coin, we must look at both supply and demand. On the supply side, the number of known examples of the 1982 D small date copper penny is incredibly tiny. Experts estimate that perhaps fewer than 20 examples exist in all grades combined. Some have been found in circulation, others discovered in old collections, but they are extremely scarce. On the demand side, Lincoln cents are among the most heavily collected series in the United States. Millions of people collect Lincoln cents, and advanced collectors seek out every variety, especially rare transitional errors. When you combine high demand with extremely low supply, you get a recipe for extraordinary value. One example of the 1982 D small date copper penny sold at auction for more than $65,688. This sale set a record for this type of coin and cemented its place as one of the most valuable pennies of modern times. The price depends heavily on condition, as with most coins. Lower grade examples, if authenticated, may still bring tens of thousands of dollars, while high-grade specimens with minimal wear and sharp details can command astronomical sums. Collectors and investors alike are fascinated by this coin because it represents a true modern rarity. Unlike coins from the 1800s where rarity is expected, the 1982 D copper small date penny is from the modern era when billions of coins were being minted each year. The idea that such a rare error could escape into circulation during a time of mass production makes it all the more appealing. Many people today still search through their pocket change and coin jars in hopes of finding one of these elusive treasures. So, what does this mean for you if you are interested in coins or if you simply have a jar of old pennies sitting around? It means you should pay close attention to your 1982 pennies. First, you need to learn how to tell the difference between copper and zinc cents. Copper cents weigh about 3.1 grams while zinc cents weigh only about 2.5 grams. A simple digital scale can help you quickly separate the two. Then you need to examine the date closely to determine whether it is a large date or a small date variety. The small date numerals are thinner, and the 2 in 1982 has a different curve than the large date version. Finally, check the mint mark. If you have a small date 1982 penny with a D mint mark and it weighs 3.1 grams, you may have discovered one of the rarest modern coins in existence. The story of the 1982 D penny also teaches us about the larger history of coinage and economics. It shows how something as small as a 1-cent coin can reflect broader changes in metal prices, government policy, and industrial production. It also illustrates the human element of minting. Mistakes happen, planchets get mixed up, and errors slip through even in a highly controlled environment like the United States Mint. These little accidents are what make collecting so exciting because they create treasures that were never intended to exist. Over the past decade, the fame of the 1982 D small date copper penny has continued to grow. Articles have been written, videos have gone viral, and collectors continue to dream of finding one. Its place in numismatic history is secure, not just because of its rarity and value, but because it represents the perfect blend of history, economics, and chance. For many, it is a reminder that treasure can still be found in the most ordinary of places, like a handful of change at the bottom of your drawer. As we come toward the end of our exploration of this remarkable coin, let us take a moment to reflect on what makes a coin valuable in the first place. Value is not just about precious metals or face value. It is about history, rarity, demand, and the stories coins can tell. The 1982 D small date copper penny tells a story of transition, a story of change, and a story of mystery. It shows us that even in the modern age, when billions of coins are struck by machines, rare treasures can still slip through and capture the imagination of collectors around the world. The next time you come across a penny from 1982, do not dismiss it as just another common coin. Take a closer look. Weigh it, examine the date, check the mint mark. Who knows, you might be holding a fortune in your hand without even realizing it. And even if you do not find the exact rare variety, you will gain a new appreciation for the history and complexity behind the coins we use every day. The legacy of the 1982 D mint mark 1-cent penny coin is secure. It stands as one of the most valuable and intriguing rarities of the late 20th century. With a current market value reaching $65,688, it continues to amaze and inspire. It reminds us that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest stories. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving deep into the story of the 1987 no-mint mark 1 cent penny coin, a coin that might look ordinary to many people at first glance, but in reality it hides a fascinating history and an eye-opening market value that reaches an astonishing $90,876 when found in pristine condition. So if you have a jar of old pennies lying around at home or some change in your pocket, you definitely want to watch this video till the very end, because who knows, you might be holding on to a fortune without even realizing it. Let us begin with the background story. The year 1987 may not seem too far back in time, but in coin collecting terms, every year and every minting detail counts. In 1987, the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents as part of the long-running Lincoln Penny series, which had started back in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln. The Lincoln cent is one of the most iconic coins in American history, and it has gone through several changes in composition and design throughout the decades now. What makes the 1987 penny so special is the fact that there are coins from this year that appear without a mint mark. Normally, pennies are minted in different facilities like Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and the coins usually carry a tiny mint mark letter to identify where they were struck, for example a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. However, coins struck in Philadelphia often came without a mint mark at that time, making them unique in their own way. The no mint mark 1987 penny means it was minted in Philadelphia, but what makes this penny fascinating is the rarity of certain variations. Certain examples are struck with such sharp details, such flawless surfaces, and such high-grade preservation that collectors are willing to pay incredible amounts to own them, while a circulated 1987 penny without a mint mark might only fetch a small amount, maybe a few cents, or a couple of dollars at best. The real treasure lies in the uncirculated mint state and proof-like examples that command jaw-dropping prices at auctions. So let us talk about the composition and design of the 1987 Lincoln penny. The coin is made primarily of copper-plated zinc. This was part of a change that occurred in 1982. Before that year, pennies were made mostly of copper, but rising copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to switch to a cheaper composition. So by 1987, the penny was 97.5% zinc with a thin plating of copper weighing 2.5 grams with a diameter of 19 millimeters. The obverse or front side of the coin features the famous bust of President Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials VDB can be found on the coin, and this design has been in use for over a century. The reverse side in 1987 still displayed the Lincoln Memorial design, which had been in circulation since 1959, designed by Frank Gasparo. So these coins connect us not only to the history of Abraham Lincoln but also to the long story of American coinage. Now, why is the 1987 no mint mark penny valued so high? In certain cases, the answer lies in condition and rarity. Coins are graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC using a scale from 1 to 70, where 70 represents a perfect, flawless coin known as a mint state perfect coin. Very few 1987 no mint mark pennies survive today in extremely high grades like MS68 or higher, and those are the examples that spark bidding wars among collectors at major auctions. One such penny reached a jaw-dropping value of $90,876, showing just how valuable even a 1-cent coin can become if preserved in superb condition. Collectors seek out these coins because they represent not only history, but also the challenge of finding rarity within common circulation. Most people spend or overlook their pennies, but coin collectors know that treasures can be found in pocket change and coin rolls. That is why coin roll hunting has become so popular in recent years. Enthusiasts buy boxes of pennies from banks and search through them, hoping to find rare dates, mint errors, and high-grade examples like the 1987 no mint mark. Speaking of errors, let us discuss how error coins add even more value to this story. In 1987, there are some known error varieties such as off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets. These mistakes happen during the minting process, and they create unique coins that collectors love. Depending on the type and severity of the error, an error coin can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in addition to the rarity of high-grade standard strikes. So if you happen to find a 1987 penny without a mint mark, pay close attention to the details. Under magnification, you might discover doubling in the lettering or design elements, or you might find that the coin was struck slightly off-center, all of which boost its value dramatically. Another important point to cover is the demand among collectors. The Lincoln Cent series is one of the most widely collected series in the world because it spans more than a century and is accessible to new hobbyists, as well as experienced professionals. Many people begin their coin collecting journey with the humble penny and then later branch out into other denominations, so the demand for rare varieties like the 1987 no mint mark penny is strong and continues to grow with time. This demand, combined with the limited surviving supply in pristine condition, is what drives the prices so high. Now let us take a step back and think about the cultural and historical context of the year 1987. It was the late 1980s. Ronald Reagan was President of the United States. The Cold War was nearing its end. Technology was advancing rapidly, and the American economy was shifting. Pennies minted during this time carry with them a piece of that era. They remind us not just of commerce and daily transactions, but also of the larger social and political atmosphere surrounding them. That is part of why numismatics, the study and collection of coins, is so captivating. Coins are small pieces of history you can hold in your hand. Imagine holding a 1987 penny that looks like it was minted yesterday. Shiny red lustrous surfaces with no scratches or marks under magnification. Such a coin represents a time capsule, a link between past and present. And when that same coin carries a market value of $90,876, it also represents opportunity for life-changing discoveries. Now let us walk through what you can do if you think you might have a valuable 1987 no mint mark penny. First, carefully examine the coin. Look at the condition. Is it worn out, or does it look almost brand new? Collectors value luster, sharpness, and overall eye appeal. Second, check for errors. Look for doubling on the lettering Liberty, or In God We Trust, or on the date. Look for off-center strikes or odd shapes along the edges. Third, consider having the coin professionally graded. If you truly believe the coin is in excellent condition, sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC can confirm its grade and significantly increase its market value. When it comes to selling such a coin, the best route is usually through major coin auctions or reputable dealers. This ensures you get the true value of your treasure and avoid being underpaid. Many stories exist of people finding rare coins in jars or pocket change, selling them for a few dollars only to later learn that the coin was worth tens of thousands. So knowledge is key. The lesson here is simple: never underestimate the power of small change. Every penny has a story, and some pennies like the 1987 no mint mark carry not just a story but also immense value. So next time you come across a penny, take a second look, especially if it is from the late 1980s. You just might be holding on to a hidden gem. So in conclusion, the 1987 no mint mark 1 cent penny coin is far more than a simple piece of change. It is a connection to American history, to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, to the craftsmanship of coin design, and to the thrill of treasure hunting in everyday life. With a market value soaring to $90,876 in rare high-grade conditions, this coin proves once again why collectors and enthusiasts remain passionate about numismatics. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the story of the 1987 penny. If you enjoyed learning about this coin and want to discover more hidden treasures in US coinage, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you do not miss future episodes where we explore more rare coins and valuable finds. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe your next penny could be worth a fortune. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of coins and hidden treasures that might just be sitting in your pocket change without you even realizing it. Many people across the United States, and even around the world, still handle pennies on a daily basis, not giving much thought to their potential value. But there are certain pennies from certain years that are not only rare but extremely valuable. And today we are going to talk about one that might surprise you, the 1989 no mint mark 1 cent penny coin. Now, before we jump straight into the value, let us set the stage with a little bit of history about the penny itself. The United States 1 cent coin, also commonly called the penny, has been part of American life since the very beginning. The very first 1 cent coin was issued back in 1793, and over the centuries the penny has gone through many different designs, from the flowing hair design to the large cent and eventually to the small copper Lincoln cent that most of us recognize today. When Abraham Lincoln was placed on the 1 cent coin in 1909, it marked the first time in American history that a real historical figure was depicted on a circulating coin. That was done to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln cent, designed by Victor David Brenner, became instantly popular, and over time it went through small changes in design and Composition: in the early years from 1909 through 1958, the penny featured wheat ears on the reverse. Those are now known as wheat pennies, which many collectors love to find in circulation. After 1959, the wheat reverse was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design, and that continued for many decades up until 2008. So the 1989 penny belongs to that Lincoln Memorial series, which millions of Americans handled on a daily basis. Now, the year 1989 itself was a time of big change in the world. George H.W. Bush had just become President of the United States. The Berlin Wall was about to fall later that year. The Cold War era was coming to a close, and in the world of coins, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of 1-cent pieces. The official mintage for 1989 is absolutely massive. Over 7 billion pennies were struck that year across different mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. So naturally, you might think, with billions of coins minted, how could a single penny from 1989 be worth thousands of dollars? Here is where the details matter most. The majority of 1989 pennies are only worth face value, just 1 cent. Even in circulated condition, they remain common. However, there is a specific variety and condition of the 1989 no mint mark penny that changes everything. When we say no mint mark, that means the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins struck in Denver will have a D mint mark. Coins struck in San Francisco with an S mint mark, usually for proof sets, but Philadelphia coins often come with no mint mark at all. So for 1989, Philadelphia minted billions of no mint mark pennies, but out of those only a handful were struck with such pristine quality or unique die characteristics that they stand out in the coin collecting world. Collectors and grading services like PCGS and NGC look for the highest quality examples, coins that have never been circulated, coins that are in mint state condition, sometimes labeled MS65, MS66, MS67, or even higher. These coins are graded based on how sharp the strike is, how clean the surfaces are, and whether there are any scratches, marks, or signs of wear. In the case of the 1989 no mint mark penny, the highest quality specimens can be worth an incredible amount. One such coin has sold for as much as $48,988 at auction. Think about that for a moment. A coin that costs the government just a fraction of a cent to produce, and a coin that has a face value of just 1 cent was sold in the open market for nearly $50,000. That is the power of rarity, demand, and condition in the world of numismatics. So what makes this coin so valuable? Let us break it down. First, rarity. While billions were minted, only a tiny percentage survived in top uncirculated grades without scratches, bag marks, or handling damage. Second, demand. Lincoln cents have one of the largest collector bases in all of U.S. coinage. More people collect Lincoln cents than any other denomination, so there is always competition among collectors to get the very best examples. Third, certification. When coins are sent to professional grading companies and come back with a high mint state grade, they are encapsulated in a protective holder and assigned a value that collectors can trust. This boosts confidence in buyers and pushes auction prices even higher. Now let us talk about how you can identify a 1989 no mint mark penny worth serious money. First, look at the date. It must be 1989, and there should be no mint mark under the date. If you see a D, that means it was made in Denver. If you see an S, that means San Francisco, but no mint mark means Philadelphia. Second, check the condition. If your penny is scratched, dented, or has been in circulation for years, it is probably only worth 1 cent. But if you find a penny that looks brand new, shiny, and crisp, it might be worth getting evaluated. Third, you can invest in a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to inspect the details. A strong strike, bold lettering, and no blemishes increase the chances of it being valuable. Another interesting fact is that errors can also increase value. Sometimes the dies used to strike pennies develop cracks or misalignments, or double impressions, which are called double dies. Collectors pay thousands of dollars for rare error pennies from almost any year. So if you happen to have a 1989 no mint mark penny with an unusual error on it, that could also multiply the value. Many collectors have stories of finding rare coins in pocket change jars or old rolls of coins from the bank. Imagine opening a roll of pennies you bought for 50 cents and discovering that one coin inside is worth tens of thousands of dollars. That is the thrill that keeps people searching. Now let us explore how these coins are valued today, and why one example reached $48,988. The truth is, coin values fluctuate based on demand, auction results, and market trends. A coin in mint state 67 or higher is incredibly difficult to find, and when one comes up for auction, collectors with deep pockets compete against each other, driving the price up to record levels. In 1989 no mint mark pennies, the record price is indeed $48,988, but even coins graded slightly lower can still fetch hundreds, or even thousands of dollars, so if you find one in uncirculated condition, do not dismiss it. For collectors, this coin is a reminder that even the most common year pennies can hold treasures if preserved well. For casual viewers, this story might inspire you to go through your loose change or perhaps start a new hobby in coin collecting. The fun part of coin collecting is that anyone can start with just a few coins from their wallet and gradually build knowledge and appreciation for history and value. Imagine you are holding a small piece of history in your hand, a penny that traveled through time from 1989, survived more than 3 decades without being spent, scratched, or damaged, and today it holds the power to change someone's life financially. That is the magic of numismatics. Let us also put the value into perspective. $48,988 could pay off someone's car, it could cover a year of tuition, it could be a down payment on a house. And yet that amount of money was exchanged for a penny that most people would overlook on the ground when walking down the street. So the next time you see a shiny penny, do not just walk past it, pick it up, look at the date, and inspect it closely. You never know what kind of treasure you might be holding. Now let me share a tip for anyone interested in checking their coins. The first step is always education. Research recent auction results online. Check websites that specialize in coin values and forums where collectors share discoveries. Second, do not clean your coins. Cleaning can actually reduce their value. Collectors want coins in original condition, even if they look a little dirty. Third, if you believe you have something valuable, send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will authenticate, grade, and encapsulate the coin, and once you have that certification, your coin instantly becomes easier to sell and more trustworthy to buyers. Over the years, stories have surfaced of people finding rare pennies in old jars or inherited collections. For example, one collector found an uncirculated penny in a set that had been stored away since the 80s, and that coin ended up grading so high that it sold for tens of thousands of dollars. Imagine if that was you and you had that kind of luck. So in summary, the 1989 no mint mark 1-cent penny coin might seem ordinary at first glance, but under the right conditions it can be one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents known to exist. Its historical background, its place in the Lincoln Memorial series, and the demand among collectors all combine to give it incredible potential in the market today. With a record auction price of $48,988, this coin proves that even the smallest piece of change can hold extraordinary value. If you are new to the channel and enjoy learning about rare and valuable coins, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We share stories like this all the time, and who knows, maybe the next coin we talk about is one that you already have in your pocket change. So keep looking, keep searching, and keep collecting. Thank you for spending this time with me today as we explored the fascinating story of the 1989 no mint mark penny coin, a simple 1-cent piece that has captured the attention of collectors and reached an astonishing value of nearly $50,000. Remember, every coin tells a story, and every story could be worth a fortune.